You can draw this in Procreate. You can create this wonderful winter landscape in Procreate by following this super easy tutorial. I will guide you through every single step, and along the process you will learn about using layer clipping mask, alpha lock, and the selection tool. So you will be learning by doing, and at the end you will have a fantastic result. If you would like to share it, and if you're sharing it on Instagram, then tag me in the image, not just in the description, because that way I will be able to find your work, and then maybe we will see it in the next video. Just check out these amazing tutorial results from my friends at Patreon. That's where you can find more than 150 Procreate tutorials and a whole bunch of special flow brushes. So it's a great place if you have a serious Procreate tutorial addiction, or if you just want to get your Procreate skills to the next level. Now for this tutorial, we're working on a canvas that is 2300 pixels by 3000 pixels. The color profile is linked in the description, and we will only be using 2 brushes during this tutorial, and they are already in the app Procreate. So now if you're ready, let's get started. All right, let's start by dropping in a color for our sky. The color we'll use is this one over here, first color in the first row. Let's drag it onto our canvas, and then let's grab the soft brush under airbrushing. And for the color, we'll grab this one over here, second color in the first row. Now the opacity of this brush is at 60%, and let's set the size to 25%. And I'll add a little gradient. Let's start here in the center and slowly move up to about here. And then here we can add a little bit more, make it a bit more opaque. So we'll get something like this. If you want it to be a little bit more soft, then you can go to the magic wand, then to Gaussian blur, and then slide to the right on your screen. Let's go for 22%. Then we'll make a new layer on top of this layer. So we'll go to the 2 little squares, then we'll tap the plus, and then for our brush, we'll go to the calligraphy brushes, and I like to use the script brush. And then for the color, I'd like to use this one over here, first color in the second row. And I will go through the center of our canvas and make a pretty wobbly line. Now the opacity of the brush should be at 100%, and I have the size set to 12%. And then let's zoom out just a little bit so we can see the side of our canvas. And I will start about here and make a wavy, pretty wobbly line from left to right. And then we'll drop in the color on the underside. Now we are going to add some mountains, and we are going to do that on a layer in between these two. So first tap layer 1, and then tap the plus, and then for our color, we will grab this one over here. That's the 7th color in the first row, and I will start pretty high about here. We'll go up a little, and then we'll go down, also pretty wobbly, bumpy, all the way to the right like this, and then drop in the color underneath. Then we'll make another layer. We'll tap the plus here. Then we'll grab this color, 5th color in the first row. Then we'll make another mountain shape. Let's start all the way here on the left behind our blue layer. Then we'll go up here like this. Then make a pointy part here, and then go back down. And then drop in the color underneath. If the color is spilling out all over, then you might not have started all the way on the left side. So you can turn off your top layer to see what's happening there. I will make another layer underneath these two. So first tap layer 1, then tap the plus. And then for our color, we'll grab this one, 3rd color in the first row. And then we'll make some light mountains. And again, we'll start all the way on the left so we can create a closed shape. And we'll go out here, go up and down, and make a nice jagged mountain shape like this, and then drag in the color. Now I feel like we might need a bit more space at the top for our sky. If you want to move your layers, if you want to move them all, that can easily be done by selecting the layers you want to move. We can slide to the right on these layers with our mountains and with this blue part. So now these are all selected except for our sky. Then we can go to the move and transform tool, that's the little arrow here, and then go to snapping and make sure that snapping is turned on. And then you can move it down, and I'll place it about here. And we can see that vertical orange line. That means that it's still in the center. And then tab the arrow again. Now let's add some lighting to our mountains. Let's start with the light ones in the back. This one over here, layer 5, we are going to tap the plus for a new layer. And I will tap the new layer and set it to clipping mask, so that whatever we draw here, it'll only show up on that mountain here. And for the color, we'll grab the 4th color in the 1st row. And now we are going to add some light parts on the right sides of these mountains. Just make a jagged shape, something like this. Loop around to close your shape, and then drag in the color. We can do the same here for this peak. Make a shape a bit like this. Close it and drag in the color. And for this one, make something like this. Drag in the color. And then finally for this little peak. Then let's move on to the next mountain. I'm happy with this one, so we can pinch these 2 layers together. And we'll go to layer 3, the purple layer, tap the plus for a new layer on top, and then we are going to use layer clipping mask again. So tap the layer, turn on clipping mask, and then for the color, we'll grab this one, 8 color in the 1st row. And then again, let's go over the right side. Let's create a jagged little shape, loop around to close it, drag in the color. And let's also create something over here, as if there is another peak in front of it. Just create a random shape, something like this, and drag in the color. Then let's make another layer on top. So let's go to the layer menu, tap the plus, and then on the new layer, again, select clipping mask. And then for the color, we'll grab the next one, the 9th color in the 1st row. And then let's add a lighter edge, a little bit thinner than the other one that we have created. Perhaps there's a little part like this sticking out. Bit of a jagged shape. Then loop around to close your shape and drag in the color. You might need to adjust some parts. Maybe you have a few gaps. Or maybe you would like to add some extra parts. Then let's also add some shapes here along this ridge. Maybe some pointy parts. And perhaps also some shapes over here. A lot of these things will get overlapped by trees later, so you don't have to give this too much thought. Just create a nice random shape. And always make sure that your shapes are closed before you drag in the color. Sometimes you might need to zoom in if you have some gaps. This is all looking pretty clean. Maybe we can add a little extra bumpy here. Some extra details to this mountain. I think this looks nice. So let's zoom. No, not zoom. Let's pinch. Let's pinch these layers together, these 3. And then go to this layer. Again, let's tap the plus and set the new layer to clipping mask. Then for our color, we'll go to this one, 6th color in the 1st row. And then again, we'll add some light parts. Let's start here near the peak. Loop around, close it, drag in a color. And then let's add some more. Drag in the color. Perhaps another one over here. Maybe some pointy parts. Drag in the color. And some shapes over here. Close it and drag in the color. I think this gives an interesting look. Now over here, I'd like to add some trees in the distance, and they need to be behind our purple mountain and our orange mountain. But I'm happy with these mountains, so we can pinch these together. Just make sure that the white or light gray one is still on a separate layer. Tap that one and then tap the plus. And then for the color, we are going to grab this one over here, 8 color in the first row. And now we are going to add some very simple trees there. And we are going to do that with the selection tool. That's the S-shaped ribbon. We're going to set it to freehand and turn on color fill. When you have color fill turned on, when you make a selection, it'll get filled automatically with the color you have selected. So now we are just going to make some of these triangular shapes, pointy shapes, like very simple trees. Just like this. And then when you loop around to close your selection like this, it'll get filled with that color. And then you can tap the S-shaped ribbon again and again if you want to add some more, if you feel like it's not enough. You can just go there, maybe make some bigger ones. And then let's also add another color behind this. So let's make a new layer behind this layer or underneath it. So first tap this layer, then tap the plus, and then for the color we'll use the 10th color in the first row. And again, we'll use the selection tool to get those nice pointy shapes. And we'll go behind the other trees. Make some random shapes, loop around, close the selection, and then perhaps make some more, maybe some bigger ones. And then tap the S-shaped ribbon to get out of there. Now we can pinch out to zoom out, check out what it looks like. I think it looks good. I'm happy with the mountains and with these trees, so I'm going to pinch them together to save some layer space. So let's pinch these, and now let's add some clouds to our sky before we start working towards our foreground. So let's tap the sky layer, then tap the plus, and then for our color, let's start with this one, 4th color in the first row. And for our brush, we will stick with the script brush. And now let's make some rounded shapes, very simple. Here at the top with a flat underside, and drag in the color. We need to do this by hand. Then go to the selection tool again, the S-shaped ribbon. Set it to rectangle this time and turn off color fill. And then make a rectangular selection on the underside, like this. And then when you swipe with 3 fingers, you can erase that lower part. Now let's make a bigger cloud in front of it. Let's start here. Make a shape like this. Flat underside. Drag in the color. And then again, go to the selection tool. Select that lower part. And swipe with 3 fingers. Then one more. Let's grab the brush. Well, we already have it. Let's make shape like this. Drag in the color. I just want a pointy shape there. Now let's make some clouds in a warmer color. Let's make a new layer on top of this one. Let's tap the plus. And then for the color, let's grab this one. 2nd color in the first row. Let's make a cloud in front here, for instance. Drag in the color, maybe one over here. Drag in the color. And for this one, we can use the selection tool again. Make a rectangular selection and swipe with 3 fingers. Then on this side, let's also make a cloud over here. Drag in the color. You can use continue filling if you have more spaces to fill. Then go to the selection tool, select the underside, and slide or swipe with 3 fingers. Then one more. Let's create a pretty flat one over here. Drag in the color, use continue filling, and then go to the selection tool to select the underside and get rid of that. So maybe we can move these 2 clouds a little bit more towards the left to balance the composition a bit better. So let's go to the selection tool, the S shape ribbon, set it to freehand, then select these clouds on the left, close the selection, and then go to the move and transform tool. And then you can move them a bit to the left like this. And then just tap the arrow again. All right, now let's move on to our foreground. Let's make a layer on top of all the others. Let's go here and tap the plus. Then for the color, we'll stick with this 4th color in the 1st row. And for the brush, we still need the script brush. And then let's start about here. Make a line like this. And then over here, we are going to make like a swooping line for our river. So we'll go like this, then like this, and then down here. Then let's drag in the color. Then let's start here, make another shape, go to the right. Then here we'll go back to the left, make a wobbly line like this, and then drag in the color. Then we are going to work on a layer underneath this. So first we'll tap layer 2, then we'll tap the plus, and then for our color, we'll grab this one over here. That's the 6th color in the 2nd row. And let's use the selection tool again. The S shape ribbon, set it to freehand with color fill turned on. And then over here, we'll make a triangular shape and another one next to it. And then over here, let's make some rounded shapes like bushes. Close it. Then make some more over here. Loop around, close it. And then let's add some stuff to these trees. Let's start at the top and make a motion like this downward. Then close the selection and then do the same thing on the other side. Close it. And then for this one, you can vary the shapes a bit. This one is a bit more like downward, pointy. And then turn off the selection. Now we'll make a layer on top of this one for even more trees. Let's tap the plus, but now we'll grab a darker color. This one over here, 7th color in the 2nd row. Then we'll grab the selection tool again, and then we'll make more triangles. Some can be a bit more thin. Maybe some thin ones over here. And then over here, we can also make some more rounded shapes. Loop around, close it, and then let's add the pointy parts. We'll go here, add that to the side, close the selection. We'll do that for each of these trees. Go down, jagged motions. And this side. And it doesn't have to be super tidy. It's nice if they are a little bit wonky. Add some character to these trees. Then turn off the selection again. Now we have a nice little tree line. Now let's add some more bushes over here in this background. So let's go there to that layer, layer 2, then let's tap the plus. And for the color, let's first grab this one, 4th color in the 2nd row. And for our brush, we will use the script brush. And then let's just create a little bushy shape like this. Drag in the color. And now let's also add a little bit of that darker color. This one, 3rd color in the 2nd row for some variety. You can just color that in by hand like this. And then we'll make a new layer underneath this one. So we'll go to layer 2 again, then we'll tap the plus, and then we'll grab this color, 2nd color in the 2nd row. We're going to add some light to this area. Now let's make a zigzag here. To create some nice interest, some nice variation there. And then let's also add a few trees. Let's go and add a layer underneath this one first. So first we'll go to layer 5, then we'll tap the plus. Then for the color, we'll use this one, 6th color in the 2nd row, and let's use our selection tool again. We'll go in here and we'll just add some pointy shapes again and create some very basic trees. Now let's go to the layer menu. Let's pinch these together. Actually, we can pinch all of these, so that's these 4 layers. And we still have those trees that are more in the foreground. We have those on a separate layer. Now let's tap the plus for a new layer on top of this one that we have just merged. And then let's grab the selection tool again. And then we'll make a few trees over here as well. Make some basic shapes first. Then we'll go in here and add those pointy parts, keeping it very basic. And this one, then the other side, like that. Tap the S-shaped ribbon to get out of there. So now we have some nice stuff going on there. Now let's add some more trees towards the foreground. I'm happy with how this looks, so we can pinch these together. So that's the trees and that bluish plane. So we can save some space. Then we are going to make a layer on top of the snow layer. Let's tap the plus. And then for our color, let's start with this one. 7th color, or no, the 8th color actually, in the 2nd row. And let's grab the S-shaped ribbon again. And we are going to make a tree over here. Let's first create that triangular shape. And now we can add the sides again. So make some shapes like this. Go back up. And then on the other side, like this. And then turn off the selection tool. Then we'll move to this side. We'll add trees here as well. Let's first grab this color, 9th color in the 2nd row. And then again, we'll grab the selection tool. And let's first make a shape like this, triangular shape. And let's also add some rounded shapes, as if there are some bushes here. And then for the extra parts, let's add some pointy sides. And on the other side. And then turn off the selection. I do see I have a little gap here, a little issue. Let's grab the selection tool one more time. And let's make our pointy part there. And then tap it again. All right, now let's remove a part from the bottom for both of these trees. Let's tap and hold the eraser so it switches to the script brush. And I have this eraser set to 22% in size. And now let's add some bumps here, as if this is covered by snow. Now let's do the same here. Just some bumpy shapes. Then let's add another tree behind this one. You can do that by first tapping this layer, then tapping the plus, and then let's move to the next color, 10th color in the second row, and grab the selection tool again. Then let's make another triangular shape, and then add the rest. And then this side. And turn off the selection. Now I'd also like to add some other trees with rounded shapes. So we can nicely balance the more pointy shapes with the rounded shapes. Just like the rounded shapes of the clouds, they will be like mirrored by the rounded shapes of the trees we are going to make. And these pointy trees, they are like the pointy parts in the mountains. So that way you get a nice contrast. Let's first create some orange trees with this color over here. Third color in the third row. And let's make a layer on top of this white one. So we'll tap the plus here and we still have our script brush. And let's first create a rounded tree over here. Drag in the color. Add a little part here, then one over here, which is a little bit smaller. Drag in the color, and perhaps a small one over here. And these have like little cloud shapes. Drag in the color, and then I'd like to add a few rounded trees in the background. So let's first tap this layer, then tap the plus, and then for the color, let's grab this one. That's the 7th color in the first row. And let's just add a few trees here behind the orange one here, and one here, maybe one here. And perhaps a small one here. Drag in the color. You can use continue filling. And then let's make a few in front of the other trees. So first go to the top here, then tap the plus. Let's make these a tiny bit darker. Let's grab this color, 5th color in the second row. And then let's make one over here. And one over here. And let's add one over here. Let's also drag in a color for these ones. And maybe we can add a little bush over here. Then we'll also move all the way to the foreground. Let's tap the plus for a new layer. And for the color, let's grab this one. 2nd color in the 3rd row. And then we'll make a big bush over here and one over here. Drag in the color. This is nicely pushing the rest of the scene back a little bit. It brings a little bit of perspective. Then let's make another layer. Let's tap the plus for more bushes in the foreground. Let's use this color, the 1st color in the 3rd row. And these will have a few more bumps. Like this, and one over here, and then drag in the color. Now let's add some gradients to these bushes. Let's start with the ones in the back. Let's start with layer 10. Let's tap it and turn on alpha lock, and then we'll go to the airbrushing brushes and use the soft brush. Then for the color, I think we can stick with this one. To make the brush a little bit smaller, perhaps 6%. Let's see. That's actually nice. Now we are going to go over the lower part with rounded motions to add a little bit of a gradient, very light touch. And then I'd also like to add a little highlight at the top. To do that, we'll make a new layer first. We'll tap the plus and set that layer to clipping mask. And then we'll go back to the calligraphy brushes and use the script brush. And for the color, we'll use the fourth color in the first row. And then we'll just go along the edges and add these little highlights at the top. Or maybe it's snow, a little layer of snow. It adds a nice extra touch. Now these are a little bit too light. We can lower the opacity a bit by going to the layer menu, tapping the N, and then sliding to the left. Let's set it to 70%. And then once you're happy, you can pinch these together. Now let's make the branches. On a new layer, we'll tap the plus. And for the color, let's use this one, 10th color in the second row. And with the script brush and light pressure, make these branches. Very simple. And over here as well. And some just have a few, and some might have some more. And if you press very lightly, your line will become thinner with this brush. Now I want to tone them down a little bit, and we can do that again by using alpha lock. We can tap the layer, turn on alpha lock, and then we can grab the soft brush again. So we'll go to airbrushing, and for the color, let's grab this one, 5th color in the second row, and then just go over the top a little bit and tone these down a little bit. And then once you're happy, you can pinch these together. And now we can move on to the orange trees. Let's tap the layer first and turn on alpha lock so we can make use of our soft brush again. And this time we'll grab the 4th color in the 3rd row. And then we'll add a little bit of that darker color to the bottom. And I'd like to switch to the script brush. Where is it? Of course, under calligraphy. And then I'd like to add a few dots on this one. Maybe these are some leaves. Just nice to have some extra texture. Now for this one, I want to add a little bit of a purplish haze. So let's grab the airbrushing brush again, the soft brush. And for the color, grab this one, 1st color in the 3rd row. Then let's go over here, add a little bit of that to the foreground. Then we'll go back to the script brush again, under calligraphy. And I will add some dots here as well. Just a few. And then we can create those highlights again. So we can tap the plus for a new layer, set it to clipping mask. Then we'll use that light color again, 4th color in the 1st row. And then we'll add those lighter edges again. Whether it's snow or a highlight. Mostly it's adding interest to our illustration. And then let's tone it down a little bit. So we'll tap the N again, lower the opacity, and let's set it to 70% again. Then when you're happy, pinch these together, then tap the plus for a new layer and get ready to create those branches. Let's use this color this time, 8th color in the 2nd row. We already have our script brush. And then let's create those tree trunks and those branches. Very basic. Use light pressure as you move outward. So start with harder pressure and then press lightly. And I think these look nice. I won't be toning these down. I like the contrast here. So let's move on. Let's pinch these layers together. You can actually, if you're happy, you can also pinch them together with the other trees here. And now we'll move on to this pine tree. We're just going to move from the bottom to the top. So first tap this layer and turn on alpha lock. Then grab the soft brush under airbrushing. And then let's add a little bit of light here. Let's grab this color, 7th color in the 2nd row. And let's go over top here, add a little bit of light. Then let's add a little branch here. Let's tap the plus for a new layer. And then for the color, we'll grab this one, 5th color in the 3rd row. And for the brush, we need the script brush again under calligraphy. And of course, you could also make this branch directly on the tree layer. But sometimes it can give some safety to work on a new layer. And then once you're happy, you can pinch these together and move on to the next layer. Again, we'll tap it, turn on alpha lock, then first go to the soft brush. And let's first grab the light color again, 7th color in the 2nd row. Add a little bit of that here as well. And let's do the same here on this purple tree. Just a blue touch. Then we'll go back to the calligraphy brushes and use the script brush. And we'll grab that dark color again, 5th color in the 3rd row. And now you can decide for yourself if you want to do this on a new layer for your own safety, or if you want to work directly on the layer. Let's just do this and add some branches. I'm making these go downward because this is a pine tree. And this one as well. Just a few. And then let's pinch these together with the other trees. Now let's move on to these trees. Let's first tap the layer, turn on alpha lock. Then for our color, let's grab this one, 2nd color in the 3rd row. And for the brush, we need the soft brush again under airbrushing. And then let's go over the lower parts with rounded motions, adding a slight gradient here as well. This one, very gently, like this. Now for our highlights, we need a new layer again. Tap the plus, set the new layer to clipping mask so we won't be going outside of the shapes. Then we'll go to the calligraphy brushes, use the script brush, and for the color, we'll grab the 4th color in the 1st row again. And then again, just add some highlights or touches of snow, whatever you imagine it is. And this one, maybe a little bit on the side here. And then let's lower the opacity again. We'll tap the N, slide to the left, and let's set it to, well, let's just go for 70% again. And then pinch these together. Then for the branches, I do want to put these on a new layer this time. Let's tap the plus because I want to tone them down later. So we need them on a new layer. Then for the brush, we'll still use the script brush. And for the color, let's use this one, 10th color in the 2nd row. So let's add some tree trunks over here as well. And then this one. So I might have these stray branches. This one very small, using very light pressure. Then if you like the bottom to be more flat, then of course you can just grab the eraser and erase that bottom part, make a little bump like this. Then to tone these branches down, we can go to the layer menu again, tap the layer, turn on alpha lock, then grab the soft brush again under airbrushing. And let's grab a lighter color. Let's grab this one, 5th color in the 2nd row, and then go over these branches over the top and tone them down a little bit. And this one. Now finally, we will repeat these steps for the bushes in the foreground. Let's first pinch these all together. And then move to this one, tap it, turn on alpha lock, then grab the soft brush, we already have it. And for the color, let's grab this one, 10th color in the second row. Let's make the brush a little bit bigger, 12%, and go over this underside, adding a bit of shadow there. Over here as well. Then for the highlight edge, we need a new layer again, tap the plus, set that new layer to clipping mask, grab the script brush again under calligraphy, then grab the light color, 4th color in the first row, and add a little highlight here as well. Then lower the opacity by tapping the N, slide to the left to, well, let's go for 55% this time. Then pinch these together, then go to this one, again turn on alpha lock, grab the soft brush, and then for the color we'll grab this one, 8th color in the second row, the dark purple, and then darken the lower part a bit, and over here as well. Then for the highlights, again we'll tap the plus, set the new layer to clipping mask, grab the script brush under calligraphy, and then grab the light color, 4th color in the first row. And then we'll add these highlights over here as well. And I will lower the opacity again. So we'll go to the layer menu, tap the N, slide to the left to, again, 55%. Now let's just pinch these together and then add the branches on a new layer by tapping the plus, grabbing the script brush, which we already have, and then for the color, we'll use this one, 8th color in the second row. And then let's just add some branches, also some stray branches, nice and playful. And this one. And over here. That looks nice. Now we just need to work on the snow and the water. First, let's pinch these two together. And now let's go to our snow layer. Let's first make a new layer on top of this one. Let's tap the plus and set it to clipping mask so we can create a little edge for our snow. For our color, let's grab this one, 7th color in the first row. And for the brush, we still need the script brush. And now let's go along the side here and create some volume. We'll go like this to here. And then we'll do the same over here. Let's rotate a bit. We can see the volume over here, but then we'll go down, and here you won't be able to see it. Here, this area, you won't be able to see the side of the snow, but as it moves here, you will be able to see that thickness. So it will look something like this. Now let's also add a little gradient to it. Let's tap this layer and turn on alpha lock. Then go to the soft brush under airbrushing, and let's grab a blue color, this one. 7th color in the second row. Let's add a little bit of shadow here. And perhaps a little here and over here. Just some nice variation. Now let's do the same for the top of the snow on layer 6 here. Tap the layer, turn on alpha lock, and then let's add a little gradient there as well. I think I want it to be a bit lighter. Let's start with this color, 7th color in the first row, and let's add some shadow here. Very gently. Some of that purplish color here as well. And we can keep the snow very light in the back, but here we can make it a bit darker. Let's also add some warm tones with this color, 5th color in the 1st row. Let's add some of that over here for a warm glow. Maybe some here. Because with real snow, you can actually see a lot of color. It's not actually really white. So I think this looks a lot better. Let's also add some heaps in our snow. Let's tap the plus for a new layer on top of these two. Then for our brush, let's go back to the script brush. And for our color, let's just use this one. 7th color in the 1st row. And let's just make some of these round shapes. Let's actually put these on top of our trees. Let's move this layer to the top. If we can manage, hold it, move it to the top, so we can go in front of some of the trees actually. Maybe here and over here. And you can use the eraser to remove parts of the bottom. Blend it a bit more with the surroundings. And then let's add a little gradient. Let's tap this layer, turn on alpha lock, then grab the soft brush again under airbrushing. And for the color, let's grab this one, 6th color in the 1st row. Let's make the brush a bit smaller again, 5%. And let's add some light to the tops. Here as well, just to the top. And let's also add a little bright highlight. Let's go back to the script brush, grab that 4th color in the 1st row, and then let's just add bright highlight on these little heaps. Maybe there are some dots. I think this looks nice. Now for our water, let's go to this layer. That's where we also have our water and we have those trees. Let's just make a layer on top of this. Let's tap the plus. And then for our brush, let's stick with the script brush. And we are going to make some lines here with various shades of blue. Let's start with this one, 10th color in the 2nd row. And let's add that here in the back. We're just going to make horizontal lines. And we are going to move to lighter blues as we move to the foreground. So let's switch to the 9th color in the 2nd row. Add some of that. And let's also switch to this one, 7th color in the 2nd row. I'll just make a variation of these horizontal lines. And there can be some gaps. You can add some of this here. Let's also switch to this color, 6th color in the 2nd row. I just want a whole bunch of variation. And then let's also move to a lighter color, this one, 1st color in the 1st row. Let's use that for some light parts here. Then let's switch to the soft brush under airbrushing again. And let's grab this color, 9th color in the 2nd row. And then let's just go over some of these areas and blend them together a little bit. Also here we can add a bit of shadow here, but it brings the colors together. Also along the edge here. Then let's grab the script brush again And let's switch to that dark blue 10th color in the second row. And I want to add a little bit of a dark edge right near that snow. Over here as well. And then finally, let's add some highlights by using the 4th color in the first row. Let's just add some bright lights here. There. Now finally, I just want to add a little bit of snow to our scene. Let's just go all the way to the top. Then let's tab the plus. By the way, I'm noticing that we have a little bit of that dark, soft brush over here on top of our trees. Perhaps you have even more there. Perhaps you have messed a little bit on top of your trees. What you can do is just go to this layer on which we have our river, and then go to the selection tool, set it to rectangle, turn off color fill, and then you can just select this area where we have our trees, and then just swipe with 3 fingers to get rid of that. So if you are having issues in that area, that's how you can fix it. Then let's go to the top. We have our script brush, we have the light color, and let's just add some snowflakes and some random areas. We don't need a whole lot, but it can really add to the scene. And they don't have to be like circles. They can be a bit elongated. They are like almost like rice. Some can be rounded, some can be a little bit longer, some can be big, some can be small. Just try to create a variety. Just a few more. Maybe some over here. I think we got some nice, cute snowflakes here. Let's tone them down just a little bit. We'll go to the layer, tap the N, slide to the left, and let's set it to 66%. And that's it. You have created a wonderful winter landscape. I hope you have enjoyed following this tutorial. Perhaps you want to have some more fun, then I think you might like this tutorial next. I would like to thank you for watching, and I will see you next time for the next tutorial.